Today we're going to print our colorgraphic block on fabric in a second color. So today what we'll need is our block that we used last week to print in blue. It is dried now, so we're going to need our block. We're also going to need the fabric that we printed on last week. So last week we printed on white polyester cotton and we printed our design in blue. We drew up our grid and we use the block as sort of a stamp to print onto each part of the grid. Right, so today we're going to print on top of those parts of the grid, again overlapping but in a second color. So what we'll need is our block, we'll need our fabric. With our print we'll need paint, and today I'm going for yellow. I'm going to overlap yellow on top of the blue. And lastly, what do we need? We need our paintbrush. So we can begin in our painting area. We take our block and we begin painting the areas of the block that is in relief. So I'm gonna mix my yellow a little bit. And remember that the back of our block that we did last week, it has the top signaled in marker, so we know where the top of our block is when it comes to printing it. Okay, so I'm gonna line up. I'm gonna first cover it in my yellow. Right, so I made sure all of the parts of my block are covered in yellow. Now I'm ready to raise that up and stamp it. So put on my brush, look at my block, and I know where the top is, so I'm gonna put it over this layer first. Oh, I think I missed a spot right here. Yeah, so make sure I get every spot on your block. No, notice I missed that spot. Right, so I'm gonna pick up back my block, and now I'm gonna line it up with my grid. There it is. So I started in the middle just for us to see clearly from the camera, but you could start on the end and work your way down. Remember, the idea or goal is to have true prints on fabric that look identical, that look the same. So I printed 4 last week. And that should be good enough. So now I can raise. There we have it. We have certain amounts of it being covered in yellow, certain amounts of it blue is still showing, but we also have a third color coming out, which is the green, and I think that came out quite successful. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna cover my block in yellow. What I like about this paint is that this yellow is actually a little bit watery, so it's flowing out gently onto my objects rather than having to paint to brush it on. I just have to let it sit on the objects. Remember, we're working with time. I wanted to do this quick. And I'm gonna press on this side now. So I line it up in my grid, and I press it down. I think I could raise it up now. And we have it even nicer than the previous one because I had missed some of these lines here in color, and now I got it because I put a little bit more paint there. Right, so whenever you see areas that you missed, you know that's because maybe you haven't pressed it down enough, or it didn't have paint applied to the area, so you know how to fix it when you're trying it again. I'm gonna just finish the rest of them because they are coming out better than I intended. And I'm even seeing the paint mixing on the block itself, which is okay. It's mixing a little bit with the blue that I had last week. Top. I'm gonna line this one up here to the top. And now I press. Okay. Let me do it one more time. I'll bring the cloth down for this last print. It looks as though I'm just painting green on it now because my block has somehow become a palette. Paint has mixed on the block itself, which is no problem because it's gonna mix when it overlaps here anyway, but I don't know, I think the paint from last week was a bit watery. So let me go one more time. And there we have it. Our tree color, we actually made 3 colors, but it's originally a 2-color print done on fabric 3 times. Addition of 3 prints. Well, in this case I did 4. It was still extra, but I think these two and this one probably looks the best. Right? So that's it. We'll leave this to dry for a while before we can move it.